Okay, hello everybody. I'm Brian, and this is Amy News and Conversation. I'm here today to talk about something that you want to check out to be prepared for everything that's changing on the QMSR front. So, if that is a buzzword that you are familiar with, this is going to be an episode that you want to stay tuned for. But before we dive into any of that, I want to introduce our guests first, and we're going to start with a face that a lot of you are probably familiar with if you've taken any of our courses before. She's AAMI faculty and probably one of the most recognized names here for that QMSR course we're about to talk about. That's Margaret Ward.
Thank you very much. I'm Margaret Koga-Ward. I've been in the medical industry for more than 35 years. I am a quality management system consultant for this industry, and it is a pleasure to be here.
And next up, Dave Nelson.
Thank you. Yes, David Nelson. My background is in software and cybersecurity. I've been in this regulated industry for almost 30 years as well, and I'm excited to be here.
And Jack Ward.
Yes, hello. My name is Jack Ward. I'm a medical device consultant. Been in the business for a very long time, 40 plus years. And I've been associated with AAMI for about 20 years. So I'm seeing the transition from old to new here.
No, and I love that you mentioned that right out of the gate, Jack, because I was excited when we found out that you were going to be joining us for this discussion, since you were kind of at the beginning of the launch of the quality systems regulations at the FDA, well before we're now adding that M, as Margaret pointed out before, we're going from QSR to QMSR. So, Jack, why don't you tell me a little bit, just background about why that's happening?
Yeah, just a few quick comments. This is a transition, that U.S. medical device manufacturers have been really kind of pushing for a long time. And the focus of the transition is to harmonize the FDA regs, the original QSRs, more broadly with international standard 13485. So I view that as a good thing, and I think industry does as well. It allows industry to focus on primarily one quality system that addresses lots of international implications as well as US. So it's a plus.
Oh, that's interesting. And now we have this extra emphasis on management, the management system regulation. I'm curious now, Margaret, something that you've mentioned to me previously is that the ISO 13485 compliance that is now kind of being worked into this standards, compliance with that standard is not going to be the same as QMSR compliance.
Yeah, Brian, that is correct. And the FDA has emphasized that if you're currently compliant or certified to 13485, that does not mean that you're going to be compliant with the quality management system regulation, the QMSR.
It's not a pass just to operate in the US out of the gate, right?
It
Yeah.
is not. And what the FDA has done is it's a legal action, which is called incorporate by reference. And they've incorporated by reference the ISO 13485 standard, which is a globally recognized medical device quality management system standard, which has typically been a voluntary standard in the United States. It is closely aligned, they call it substantially similar, with the existing QS reg. However, because it is an international standard, there are some differences, and it's very important for an organization to perform a gap analysis before the February 2026 implementation of the QMSR. Notable differences are the terms and definitions, and manufacturers certainly have to understand that because those are quite different and need to be addressed. In addition, the QMSR includes a section called 21 CFR 820.10, and that does outline the FDA's expectations for your quality management system and how you meet applicable regulatory requirements. In addition, there are two supplemental provisions for the QMSR that provide additional regulations around record keeping, packaging, and labeling.
All three of you have been involved in this AAMI course in the past, helping develop it and change it. Um, the changes that were made now because of QMSR are fairly significant, it sounds like. So I was hoping you guys could kind of walk me through the process of what have you been looking at in particular, or major pain points that you want to highlight now that the course itself has had to change so much? Sure.
I would say that if I can use this term, there's like a mindset change. It really is important.
Mm,
If you take a look at how the QSR lays out the stuff that a medical device company has to do, there are buckets. And, 20, 30 years, all of us have learned those buckets. So there's like design, and there's purchasing, and there's management responsibility, and there's CAPA. And, we got it. We understood that. Those buckets are different now. And I don't want to demean them by using the term buckets, but it really
mhm,
is
mm.
a management system that is, I'll use the term holistic. It really takes I think, a better organized view of how companies should be running their business. And it ties the various pieces together. And I think having seen Margaret and Dave's work on the new compendium and the course, that's been a real focus, is to say a lot of the words are going to be similar. There's some vocabulary differences, but that doesn't cut it. It really is a broader understanding of the expectation, how the various pieces of the quality system support each other. That's kind of my view. And you really need a guide through that forest. You really do, because it's not just looking at words.
It's something that was mentioned earlier in our discussion was that the FDA is emphasizing risk management throughout quality
Yes.
management. So I'm curious there. That's a big buzzword, risk. Is so this is something new that we were not seeing in QSR?
The FDA has long stated that they do expect risk to be used throughout their quality management system. However, in the existing QS reg, there was only one requirement for risk, and it was in design validation, and it was called risk analysis. Now, in the
Mm,
preamble to that QS reg, the FDA did emphasize risk. Now, 1345 2016 is 20 years newer than that existing QS reg. It expects risk management throughout all QMS processes. So one thing that we've done in this course, you learn about the differences between 1345 and the QMSR. And then in addition, the course covers every single clause of 1345, starting in clause 4 and going all the way up through clause 8, the measurement analysis and improvement process.
mm.
And throughout each module, we've incorporated appropriate risk-based activities, risk-based decision making, and risk analysis and evaluation and control measures that take place throughout the quality management system.
So I know you guys have been doing a lot of changes to the course, but I also understand that you've been working really hard on what we can think of almost as an accompanying text, which is the Quality System Compendium. Now this is going to be the fifth edition of the Quality Systems Compendium. And as I understand it, there have been rampant changes. Is that correct?
Yes, substantial changes have been made. This is an all new edition of the compendium. It reflects the QMSR requirements, and it includes chapters on each portion of 1345. Then there's a lot of additional resources. We have chapters on risk management. We have chapters on the ISO process approach, combination products, IVDs, cost of poor quality, human factors, a lot of emphasis on risk management throughout the compendium. So this is going to be a very valuable reference for anybody who takes this course.
And it was pointed out that, even though QMSR requirements, they're changing to align with 13485. 13485 still is a 10-year-old document by that point, by
Hmm.
February 2nd, 2026.
Yes.
So does this book and does the course also contain, I guess, more modern knowledge beyond 10 years ago? Or are there examples from today's best practices?
Well, 1345 is going to be the basis for your quality
Mm,
management system. However, as with all regulations, you have to make the regulation appropriate to your company and to your organization. Now, we do include a lot of updated information, such as software. And in fact, Dave, talk about what we've added to the
Yeah,
compendium, the
the
software.
compendium, yeah, for sure, and especially software. It's a very fast-moving portion or industry as far
yeah.
as the medical device side of things. But There's a couple of chapters on software that are more current, that reference a lot of the current guidance documents from the FDA, as well as some other international standards that have most recently come out. There's also a chapter on CSA, or computer software assurance, which is sort of a novel approach, a least burdensome approach of managing your more internal production and quality system software that I would highly recommend as well. So yes, a lot of more modern, more current thinking from the FDA through their guidance docs and other things that this Compendium 5th edition includes.
Absolutely. And within each chapter, and for each clause of 1345, we include a section which is the FDA's current thoughts on that portion of the regulation. And then there's industry practice. So, of course, between the FDA involvement and their providing their thoughts on each of the clauses, then we have industry practice, which, of course, reflects current 2025 practices.
Oh, it's fantastic. It sounds like it's a big overhaul, a lot of value added. And again, for those viewing, this is going to be the course is starting on August 18th and it will go until the 22nd. And I'll also put a link in the description both to the course and to the compendium for everyone who wants to check those out. The other thing I had heard about this course change is that there's a really heavy focus on real world practical application. Does that mean that you're providing examples or case studies? What was the approach there?
Yes, yeah, we've incorporated exercises and discussions and various hands-on sort of exploratory activities throughout all the modules, including sort of a hypothetical product that we are looking to develop almost throughout the course, and to sort of use it as an example to the various parts of the quality management system that you would need to implement and think about actually producing a product.
Oh, that's fantastic. That sounds awesome. And just as an aside, Darren will cut this out, but these all these different points that we're putting together here are also going to be used for social media promotion as we talk about it. So anybody feel free to jump in and add, your own thoughts on the matter. So we don't have to
Okay.
always just go, Margaret, Jack, David, whatever order we're going in. Um, no, that does sound super, super interesting though. And I always love those hands-on approaches where you're designing your own fake product or whatever it might be. That's very, very cool. W- I'm curious though, who's the intended audience here?
I, of course, recommend that anybody within the quality assurance or the regulatory roles take this course, but that's been our typical audience. I really want to make sure that this audience is opened up to more people within the company. As Jack mentioned, we used to have buckets. Okay. Imagine the QMSR now as you've taken all those buckets and you put them into a big tub. Everything is interrelated. Always recommend that people from design and development take this course. And for one reason, the decisions that are made in design and development impact the rest of the quality management system. And when I've had engineers from the product development team take this course, they walk away with an understanding of not just design and development requirements, but their role in establishing some of the risk management decision making that's used throughout the course.
Let me
Yeah.
add to that, if I may. I think one thing we see in these courses, kind of a broad range of experiences and number of years working in the medical device space. We get a real broad range from those that have 20 plus years and those that have been there like a year. And so this course is really going to help both those groups. The folks that have been around for a while will get a chance to see, I used to call it that, and now it's called this. And I used to do this, and they didn't care about risk. Now risk is going to help me make some decisions that I couldn't do before. And the newbies showing up are going to say, hey, this looks pretty cool. I like how this is all put together. It's, 20 years more modern than the earlier version. That's still not current cutting edge, but the way we present it, we really take into account what companies are doing these days, what processes they're using.
Yeah, and a follow-up on some of that is also, I think, as technologies have changed and more from a software perspective, software has been part of medical devices now, and it's becoming more and more, and even medical devices all on their own. Understanding medical device terminologies and how to take a software company that's never done anything in medical, or engineers that understand software but don't understand medical. This is a great opportunity to really give that big picture view
Mhm.
of what it takes to become a medical device company, and integrate some of the technologies that we're seeing today in medical devices, and provide that perspective, and really give them that view that can help them achieve what they're trying to do.
And Dave, I want to go back to a meeting that you and I had a couple weeks ago when we were talking about one of the clauses of 1345, and you made a great comment. The clause was part of product realization, and you said, yes, it's what when individuals realize that they're making a medical device product, right? This is the product realization. So one area where we really strive to make this course valuable both to attendees with very little experience in medical devices to those who have 20, 25 years experience is to bring it back down to the level of what is required and go through each module and each clause. I call it the what, why, how approach. We start every module maybe with the story or an analysis or some questions. So before we dive into the topic, we want to really enforce what it is we're talking about. What does this look like? What is the intent of the regulation? Then we think it's very important that attendees understand the why, right? Why does this have to be understood? Why is it important? Why has this regulation been required? And then the how, right? How am I going to apply this? How does this support patient safety? How can I apply the knowledge? And how can I bring this knowledge back to my organization and start implementing this immediately or make appropriate changes within our quality management system?
That's fantastic. It sounds like a very comprehensive course, and I'm looking forward to hearing good things about it. Um, Margaret, Jack, David, thank you all for joining me today to talk about this course. I know the first series is going to be August 18th to the 22nd,
Yes.
8 hours each day, 4 hours on August 22nd to wrap things up. So people should book out their calendars, plan ahead, and really make the best of learning more about the changes that are to be expected February 2nd, 2026 with QMSR. Thanks again, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.